the Second World War, around late 1944, early 1945, the U.S. military uh, disseminated propaganda flyers over the German front line in order to break the morale of German soldiers. This was not an uncommon tactic. This practice had been seen by all sides of the conflict up until this point, and even still occurs to this day. Uh, the focus of this is on this particular flyer dropped on the German front line by the U.S. military. Okay, so uh, let's just get some context of the flyer. So let's say you're a 16-year-old German farm boy who had just been drafted into the war. You are 3 weeks in, you are in the German countryside in this makeshift base, and all around you, you see wounded soldiers, some without their legs, some without their arms, some bandaging over their eyes, bunch of groaning, bunch of moaning, and you smell this foul scent, almost like decaying flesh, off in the distance, and you know you just shouldn't be here. You miss your mother, you miss your family, your brothers, your sisters, the animals you tended to, uh, and you just want to go home. You're a kid. You were going to school before this. You had a life. You had a whole life ahead of you, and you're given this rifle, this helmet, this uniform with patched bullet holes in it. You know, the last person who wore this didn't get to see their family, and there's a good chance you won't either. And then above you, you see this plane. You recognize it as American, and you run to hide. And when you peek out your cover, you see that the plane only dropped paper. Weird. You pick one up and you read this: Frontline soldier, ask the people at home. Now taking now moving to the actual message of the messaging content of the flyer. Um, it uses very simple language, very bold text. Uh, Obviously the top. Oh, so the right, the version on the right is the version that would have been seen by the German soldiers, and the left is just a translation. And English and German they're very similar languages. They're very one to one. So I'm just gonna assume that we can just assume that they that all context and nuance is very, very similar. So let's take a look at it. So frontline soldier, ask the people at home. It concerns them. The letter immediately strikes you with that slanted text, telling you to ask your family members at home, asking what you're fighting for, and it's telling you that it concerns them. This is about them, not you. So that's who you're fighting for. Um, it's telling, it's questioning your sacrifice for Himmler and Goebbels, uh, uh, infamous German leaders of the Nazi Party at the time. It's asking you if they even care about you, um, who you're fighting for, who the leaders in charge are. Um, it's questioning if you want to be a part of. If it's asking you if your family is okay with you being a cog in the machine, potentially being reduced to rubble, and the last quote reminds you that 600,000 of your fellow German soldiers were killed uh, for Himmler and Goebbels and Hitler as well. And whether that 600,000 figure is true or not, this late into the war, It might as well be. It could be an exaggeration. It could be an underestimate. You don't really know that, but it doesn't sound unlikely. And the bottom part of the letter just it reminds the soldier that they're loved, people love them, and there's a possibility if they continue down this path that they might now see them again. Uh, that's pretty tough. Um, so visually, it's very striking, bold, big letters. Frontline soldier asks people at home, and the body text. Once it has you hooked in, you're gonna read that middle text, and it's just very striking. It catches your attention. It's just yeah, it grabs your attention. And for the rhetorical tools behind it, I'd say just looking at it, and it is propaganda. It is just trying to pull all of the emotional appeal out of the soldier. It is striking into your emotions. Who are you fighting for? It reminds you of your family 3 times. And the flyer, uh, the only, well, it does use logic. It does use logos. It reminds you of Himmler and Goebbels, and that 600,000 of your soldiers died. Fellow soldiers were killed in this conflict. And it uses logos to remind the German soldier that, hey, this is just reality. It's who this is who you're fighting for. This is what's happened to other people in your position. Do you really want to end up like this? And it uses pathos, the uh, uh, the emotional side, to really make you question it, because this is most propaganda is playing into your emotion, whether it be Uncle Sam or this or Rosie the Riveter. It plays into your emotions of, and in this case, it plays into the emotion of I want to see my family. I don't want to fight for this anymore. And the and for the ethical side of it, as we can see down here, it says that the leaflet itself acknowledges the fact that it was produced by the enemy. The US is recognizing that, yes, this is propaganda. We are your enemies. We are killing your fellow soldiers. But it's reminding, the note is reminding us that they don't want to. This leaflet comes from the enemy. Consider, however, that the enemy's wish is to avoid needless shedding. The US does not want to continue this conflict. No one does. And this little footnote is giving the German soldier a way out. Surrender, and we won't kill you. Surrender, and this can all end. You can go see your mother. You can see your family. You can see your brothers. You can see everyone you love. All you need to do is stop. And that really is what it's saying. That it's needless conflict. And this late into the war, with German resources being stretched so thin, them fighting the war on the, the Eastern, Western European side and the Soviet side, they're just being stretched thin. They know they can't do this. The average soldier might not know all that, but they know that it's just not a good position. And this note really hammers home the fact that it's might not be worth it to continue this. And that's, yeah, that's my TED Talk.